Well, this is the old guy, and this is Still River Radio. And, this is my eternal online holiday greeting card to all my friends and family. And I just want to wish you a very peaceful, if you find peace during the holidays and joy for the holidays. I pray and wish that for you. And, peace and joy isn't relegated to situations. Whatever your situation is, it doesn't matter. You can get peace and joy for the holidays. And maybe you could find out who God is. Anyway, it's holiday stress disorder time in Still River. It's winter. Though it doesn't feel like it. Today it feels more like the end of February, the beginning of March. And it's nice and sunny, and it's going to hit like 50 degrees today. And, the holidays, you go and you eat all this stuff on the holidays, You get fed, at office parties, at your relatives', who you secretly think, from the stuff they're feeding you, that they're trying to poison you. You have herring and sour cream and onion sauce, fruit cake, rum cake, assorted pies, prune Danish, mushroom soups, and hot dishes of all types, not including the turkey or the ham. And you can get really uncomfortable, and all this food causes you to have stress, but it also, all that cinnamon and nutmeg late at night in winter can wake you up 3 or 4 in the morning, and you could have visions of sugar plums dancing in your head. Or in this case, it's been warm out, and Bob Carmignani, being a Lake Wobegon, Minnesotan type, can't put his ice fishing shack out on a lake because there's no ice. But, ice fishing is not about ice fishing. It's about going into a shack. It's almost tribal, like the Indian sweat lodge, or the lodge they put young men in as teenagers, and they come out men and they have visions and things inside this lodge. That's what the house fishing house is like, the ice fishing house. And you really need to see things differently. And that's what happens. And like 3 or 4 in the morning, Alice Misnitsky gets up, and she's like half in the dream. She's half in that in-between area, almost sleepwalking. She goes into the kitchen and sits down, and there's only like a little tiny nightlight on over the sink, and she senses a presence in the room, or presence, and she turns around. There's like these visions of these 2 angel-like characters. One's tall and dignified looking, one's very short and darker, and they spoke with Latino accents. And she goes, "Who are you?" And she goes, "I'm Raul, and this is Manuel." And they spoke with Latino accents. And he goes, "My darling, all your life you raised a family. You worked, and your husband worked in the shoe store. You worked in the library, and you never went anywhere. Never did those dreams and things you read about in all those books. Well, it's time now. It's time. Your kids are grown up in college. Your husband's gone, and you need to go on your quest." And that's what happens. Bob's sitting he decides to put his fishing shack on the shore. And he goes out in a rowboat and runs 2 lines out to the middle of the lake and brings them back into the shack, and he goes in there just like he's ice fishing. And in his shack, you eat eggs, steak, and drink whiskey or beer. And it's late at night, and he's sitting there, awake, he thinks. He's in that zone also. That nefarious, ethereal twilight zone. And he gets a pull on his line. He brings it in, and he's got a big one. And it's a catfish, a big catfish. And the catfish has like rainbow iridescent skin and blue eyes. And the catfish talks to him. And the catfish says, all your life, Bob, you worked in the garage. And it's like a video of his life in front of him as the catfish is talking. And he goes, you never went anywhere. And deep down, the inner child has those visions and dreams of adventure, of the unusual, of letting go, of freedom. And this sticks with him. Well, that's what happens in the winter, in the dead of evening, especially if you had a lot of cinnamon and nutmeg and things like that. And those make for more vivid visions and dreams. So April comes, and she goes out with her girlfriend on a cruise to Hawaii. They end up in a little port called Na Wili Wili, a very small place with a small beach and a Kmart. And she drives around. She rents a car and drives around, and she sees pineapple growing. She sees papaya growing. She sees corn and coffee growing. And she goes over to the Big Island and sees volcanoes and coffee growing. And she sees these steam vents around the volcano. You can walk by them. And people are lowering baskets. Locals are lowering these little covered baskets down these steam vents with a long pole and a long kind of leather kind of rope that won't dissipate due to the superheated volcano steam down in these vents that come out of the ground. And they cook like pigs and duck and vegetables. And this one guy was there. He roasts coffee. He says the superheated steam, volcanic steam, roasts his coffee, and he gives her a taste, and it's like the best coffee she's ever tasted, and it's like super jet fuel. She starts battling and going on and running around, and all these things are going through her head. Well, she ends up starting Lava Java Coffee Company, superheated, lava roasted coffee that can't be beat. Bob, we'll have to hear about him later, but this is the beginning. This is winter in Still River. Get out there.